Welcome back. We know you want the essential insights without spending hours digging.
Exactly. And today we're looking at some pretty interesting numbers coming out of China.
Right, the manufacturing sector specifically, and how these new U.S. tariffs are playing into it.
We've got the official factory survey data, plus news reports giving context.
And our mission, really, is just to unpack what this means right now for China's economy.
So let's dive in. The first thing that jumps out is this contraction in manufacturing.
Yeah, the PMI, the Purchasing Managers Index.
That's the one. It fell to 49.0 in April. And, anything below 50 points towards contraction.
And it was above 50 just the month before, right? March was 50.5.
Correct. So it's a definite shift from, slight growth back to shrinking. It also missed the forecasts. Economists expected something closer to 49.8.
Okay, so a bit of a surprise downturn. And this lands just as those big U.S. tariffs hit.
The timing is certainly notable. The reports are mentioning that 145% duty President Trump initiated. Some call them the Liberation Day tariffs.
Wow, 145%. That's steep. And it comes when China's already dealing with other headwinds.
Exactly. They've had this issue with deflation, falling prices, which suggests demand isn't that strong.
And the property sector problems haven't gone away either.
Not at all. So yeah, these tariffs arrive at a, let's say, complicated moment for their economy.
You know what? Before these tariffs actually landed, producers were trying to ship things out quickly, weren't they?
Oh, absolutely. We saw exports spike in March, a 5-month high, actually. They were definitely trying to get ahead of the curve.
Makes sense. But that strategy is kind of over now with the tariffs in place.
Pretty much. That window seems to have closed. Reports suggest order books for some of those specific goods just, evaporated almost overnight.
Ouch. So factories have had to pull back.
Right. They're scaling back production in response.
So if exports were the engine or an engine for recovery post-pandemic, and that's now under pressure, what's the plan?
Well, the focus really shifts, or perhaps intensifies, towards boosting domestic demand. This has been a talking point for a while, but now
It becomes more critical.
Exactly. And analysts are pretty much all expecting Beijing to step in with more support, both monetary, like cutting interest rates or making borrowing cheaper.
And fiscal, like government spending.
Yes, direct spending, maybe on infrastructure or support for businesses.
Is China trying to negotiate these tariffs away? What's the official line?
The signals we're getting suggest, no, not really seeking talks right now. The strategy appears to be more of a wait and see.
Waiting for the U.S. to change course, maybe?
Perhaps. But in the meantime, they are pushing ahead with their own stimulus plans to, cushion the impact.
Okay. Who's driving that?
We're hearing the National Development and Reform Commission, the NDRC, China's main economic planner. They've said new policies are coming this quarter.
And the top leadership.
Yeah.
The Politburo.
They've also committed to supporting the firms and workers hit by this. So action is being planned, definitely.
Okay, so there's a response planned. But what about the overall growth outlook? Does this tariff situation derail things?
Well, that's where you see some differing views. The NDRC sounds confident. They're sticking to their target of around 5% growth for 2025, pointing to the stimulus.
But international bodies aren't so sure.
Right. The IMF, Goldman Sachs, UBS, they've all revised their forecast down for China for 2025 and 2026.
And they're specifically citing the tariffs.
Yes, they directly link the downward revisions to the impact of these U.S. tariffs. They basically don't see that 5% target being hit now.
Interesting divergence. And quickly, what about the rest of the economy? Services, construction?
That sector, the non-manufacturing PMI, also dipped slightly. It went from 50.8 in March to 50.4 in April.
Still above 50, so still technically growing.
Still growing, yes, but slower growth than the month before. It could be slightly related, perhaps a general confidence thing filtering through.
Okay, so summing up, China's manufacturing unexpectedly shrinks. These hefty U.S. tariffs are now a reality, creating real economic challenges.
Yeah, despite the government planning stimulus measures and sticking, officially at least, to their growth targets.
It paints a picture of, significant headwinds.
Definitely. And it leaves us with a key question for you to think about. Given these pressures and these quite different predictions about China's growth path, what could the longer-term ripples be for the global economy if this divergence continues?
Something to consider. Thanks for breaking that down.
My pleasure.